Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। Welcome everyone. We are discussing from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we discussed the second chapter. And in the second chapter, Shukadeva Goswami describes the two types of processes, that is Krama Mukti and the regular direct Mukti. And then he gives his own opinion. He describes that the best way to attain the supreme absolute truth is by the practice of devotional service. He gives his own opinion. Nahi ato anya shiva pantha vishata samshita viha vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yogo yato bhavet. And he describes the benefits of this sadhana bhakti, this devotional service. That anyone who hears this pastimes of the Supreme Lord, they become purified and they attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So we'll be beginning today with the third chapter. So in the first chapter, we heard Shukadeva Goswami describes how a yogi, he may have a different shelter. Immature yogi may have to meditate. His object of meditation may be Virata Rupa, and a mature yogi, his object of meditation is Paramatma in the heart. And in the second chapter, he described the various ways in which advanced devotee and a matured and immature devotee, he attains the Supreme Lord. Now in the third chapter, which is entitled Pure Devotional Service, the change in heart. So in this, the wonderful nature of devotional service will be described. In this, Shukadeva Goswami will describe how our desires, they change and shape our next body. So Shukadeva Goswami says that I have explained to you the path which has to be chosen by the dying person, because that was the question of Parikshit Maharaj. What should a dying person do? And Shukadeva Goswami explained in detail about the Krama Mukti and the direct Mukti and the path which is followed by the intelligent people. And what is that path? That is the path of devotional service, bhakti. Now he says, and Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he describes that this path which is followed by intelligent people, it is very, very rare. Out of millions of men and women who are there on this planet, very few come to devotional service. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashyad yadati siddhaye. Very rare people, they come to devotional service. After many births, somebody come to devotional service. Bahunam janmanam ante. Maya mugdha jive nahi swata Krishna gyan. Jivera kripaye koila Krishna Veda Puran. So people, all the living entities, they are bewildered by material nature, and Krishna, just to show mercy to them, he gave all the scriptures in which it is very beautifully explained how to come to him. And Srila Prabhupada writes that the intelligent class of people only take to Krishna consciousness. The intelligent people take to devotional service. That's what Shukadeva Goswami is saying. As in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pratap Rudra Maharaj is telling to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya when he is seeing all the devotees from Navadvip coming to Jagannath Puri. ऐच्छे प्रेम ऐच्छे नृत्य ऐच्छे हरि ध्वनि कहाँ नहीं देखी यार कहाँ नहीं सुनी. I have never seen such dancing, such singing, such wonderful ecstatic emotions. Bhattacharya kahe madhur vachan chaitanya srishtiye prema sankirtan. So Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, O King Pratap Rudra, this is the creation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sankirtan yagye tare kore aradhan seita sumedh ar koli hatajan. Anyone who worships Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by this chanting of the names of the Lord, he is intelligent. So after describing the activities of those who are intelligent, now Shukadeva Goswami says, now I will describe the activities of those who are not intelligent. And then he describes the path which is chosen by less intelligent people, that is the path of demigod worship. And from 2nd to 9th verses, so many devata worship, so many devatas are described, and if you want this, you have to worship this devata, and so many lists. The list is there. If you want to have a progeny, worship Prajapati. If you want to have a good sex life, worship Indra. If you want to have good fortune, worship Durga Devi. If you want to have beautiful wife, worship Apsaras and Urvashi. So many things are described. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are different types of people who are in different modes, and depending on their modes, they worship a particular type of devata. And these devatas, they give the desired benedictions. But the problem is, these benedictions are many times misused. Prabhupada gives the example of Ravan. Ravan was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he worshipped Lord Shiva and he became so powerful. But, he misused his power and ultimately was destroyed by Lord Ram. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Antavat tu phalam. The results which are given by devatas, they are antavat. They are temporary. And who worships the devatas? Those who are alpamedasam. Those who are less intelligent people, they worship devatas. So very clearly, Prabhupada writes in the purport that people in the world, they want the pleasures and the comforts of this world, but the problem is they don't understand the real problem: birth, old age, disease, and death. Nobody is working to solve these problems. People are just working to solve their temporary problems of food, and good clothes and good residence, good reputation in the society. Anyone who takes to the process of spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, he is very, very rare soul. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Of all the liberated souls, muktanam api siddhanam, of all the liberated souls, those who are liberated, the devotee of Lord Narayan is still very rare. So therefore, a liberated person, he is not interested in any of the benedictions given by the devatas, because he understands these are all temporary and they will not give me permanent benefit. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he very elaborately describes the demigod worship, how people, foolish people, they say, oh, you worship any devata, it all leads to the same goal. But Prabhupada writes, so simple logic. If you book a ticket for Calcutta, you will not go to Delhi, you will go to Calcutta only. So if you worship devatas, you will go to their place. Yanti deva vrata devan, pitrin yanti pitri vrata, bhutani yanti bhutejya, yanti madhyajinopi mam. Very clearly Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. If you worship devatas, you will go to their place. Yanti deva vrata devan. If you worship your ancestors, you will go to Pitri Loka. If you worship ghosts, you will go to their place. And if you worship me, you will come to me. So Prabhupada writes that, you know, fulfillment of material desires is not the goal of devotional service. But even though people may come to Krishna with material desires, Krishna gives them. Krishna fulfills the material desires, but he fulfills them in such a way that the devotee will not ask for the same thing again. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami says, even if you have material desires, don't go to devatas. Just go to Krishna. Because Krishna can give everything. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama, very, very famous verse of Bhagavatam. Even if you are desireless, like devotees, they have no material desires. Akama, their only desire is to serve the Lord. Akama, sarvakam, and you have all the material desires like karmis. They want enjoyment in this world and in the next world. They want to attain heaven. Akama, sarvakama, or moksha kama, or you want liberation. You are like a jnani who wants to attain happiness of Brahman. Udaradhi. A very interesting word, udaradhi. So Bhagavatam says that people who have broad mindedness, even if they have some material desires, they will use their broad minded intelligence and they will see that these devatas, they are also getting their salary and strength from the Supreme Lord only. So why to worship these devatas? Better worship the Supreme Lord. That is called udaradhi. That is having a broader intelligence. What they should do? Tivrena bhakti yogena, by great force, with all intensity, they should practice bhakti yoga. They should practice devotional service. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. They should worship the Supreme Lord. So Chakravarti Thakur, he writes a very interesting thing. He says, what is this moksha kama? The desire for liberation. Actually, it is a greater material desire than the desire of the karmis. Although externally you may see that those who are jnanis, they may look very renounced, no material entanglements, but actually what they are aspiring for happiness. And they are aspiring for their personal happiness. So the karmis, they also want to be happy, and they want to be happy in heaven. But the jnanis, they want to be happy in Brahman. So their desire is more powerful than even karmis. And Chakravarti Thakur says, you can see the sequence. Akama, sarvakama, and moksha kama. From no to less to more, So moksha kama is the most powerful type of desire. I want to be happy, maximum. But the best people are devotees because they are akamaha. They have no material desire. They have no desire for personal happiness. They want to please the Supreme Lord. That is their desire. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he mentions, he focuses on the process of devotional service, how bhakti yoga is a means of perfection. Either you are practicing karma or a jnana or ashtanga. Unless you add devotion into it, you will not get the results. So Bhagavatam describes this in many places. Without adding an element of devotion, neither karmi will get his success, neither jnani nor yogi will be successful. So in the first and second chapter, we saw that bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal of even karmis and jnanis. Now in this chapter, Shukdev Goswami says that bhakti yoga is actually ultimate goal of worship of different devatas also. So that he will be emphasizing in this chapter. So therefore Prabhupada writes, everyone should take to the process of devotional service because it is the ultimate goal. Why to make a detour and go around and come back to the same place? Just take a easy path, which is a direct path. So therefore devotees, they are akama and they have no material desires. And Prabhupada writes, desirelessness does not mean that they become like stone, no desire. No. No desire means no desire for personal sense gratification. I want to give all happiness, all satisfaction to Krishna. Atmendriya priti vancha tare bolikam, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. What is the difference between love and lust? Lust means I want everything for myself. And love means I want everything for Krishna. So that is Atman, that is called akamaha. So Prabhupada writes, Kama is fully exhibited in the material world. In this material world, everybody wants to be happy, desire sense gratification. But akama is fully exhibited in the spiritual world. The devotees of Lord, pure devotees, they have no material desires. Their only goal is to give pleasure to Krishna. And for that, they are ready to go through all the sufferings. Tomara sevaya dukkha hoye jata. Seyo to parama sukha. Seva sukha dukkha parama sampada nashaye avidya dukkha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, oh my Lord, the pains and distress I am going through in your service, that is the greatest source of joy for me. Because this is destroying my ignorance. So therefore these people are udaradhi. They are they are broad-minded. Because they have come to this conclusion, they should come to this conclusion that worshipping Krishna is the best way. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am giving Shraddha to these demigod worshippers also. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Yo Yo Yamyam Tanum Bhakta Shraddhaya Architum Ichchati Tasya Tasya Chalam Shraddham Tameva Vidadamyaham. Whatever faith these demigod worshippers have, I am giving that faith. Such magnanimous Lord, he's not feeling envious. No, okay, you want to worship this Devata, I will give you faith. And then he tells, not only faith, I give them the results also. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasya Radhanam Ihate Labate cha tatah kaman mayeva vihitan hitan. Actually, I am giving them the results. So that's how, even if Krishna is giving everything, so why to worship devatas? Better worship Krishna even if you have material desires. So one may ask, okay, I am a demigod worshipper. I worship devatas. When will I get faith to worship the Supreme Lord? Now I am worshipping devatas. When will I get that faith? You know, is it that devata worshippers naturally graduate to worship the Supreme Lord? Shukdev Goswami says no. It does not happen automatically. एतावानेव यजताम इह निश्रेयसोदयम् भगवत्यचलो भावो यद भागवत संगतः. It happens only by association of devotees. Etavan, all these demigod worshippers, eva yajatam, these are worshipping their deities. Iha nishresayodaya. They can attain the perfection of the benedictions when Bhagavati Achalo Bhavo. What is that perfection? They can develop spontaneous attraction for the Supreme Lord by Yad Bhagavata Sangataha, by association of devotees. That's all. So, unless one gets association of devotees, there is no way a Devata worshipper will come to Krishna worship. It is not possible automatically. It will never happen. Only when Krishna's devotees come in our life, then we can develop this desire to worship Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. And Srila Prabhupada writes that, in this material existence, it is a will-o-wisp. Will-o-wisp means akash pushpayate, flowers in the sky, which do not exist. So happiness of this material world is like that. Akash pushpayate. People, they make so many plans for material enjoyment. They want to go to the heavenly planets and enjoy. But they should understand that all their plans will be baffled. Moghasha, mogha karmano, mogha jnana vichetasa, rakshashi asurim chaiva, prakritim mohinim shrita. All their plans will be baffled. And Prabhupada again stresses on demigod worship. That how people, they are trying to go to various planets. People are trying, all scientists are trying to go to moon by their scientific advancement, but they will never be able to go. Even if they reach, they will not find anything there. They'll have to come back. They cannot stay there. If you want to go to higher planetary systems, follow the Vedic system, Vedic way of going to moon planet. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. That worship the devatas, do all the yagyas, and then Traividyamama Soma Paputa Papa Yagyair Ishtva Swargatim Prarthayante. They will attain Swargagati by doing yagya, by doing sacrifice. So therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that somebody may say, after the worshippers of the various devatas, they fulfill their desires. Actually, what goal they achieve? They achieve nothing. Actually, it is all waste. But if by some good fortune they get association of devotees, then they will attain bhakti. That will be the perfection of these devata worshippers. That will be Nishreyasodaya. That will be the highest good for such people. Nishreyasodaya. Because what will happen? Bhagavati achalo bhavo, they will attain unflinching attraction for the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, no good can happen to them. So somebody may ask, is it actually it is improper that whole life you are worshipping one deity and then you are telling them that person is worshipping one deity. And at the end of life, you are telling, okay, take shelter of God. How is it possible? How can it be proper? It is not proper that a person who has always worshipped the devatas, it happens in the lives of many people who come to Krishna consciousness. Whole life we have worshipped devatas. We are worshippers of, we were worshippers of Durga, Shiva, Ganapati, all these devatas. How can we worship? How can we shift our, faith? That is a question which is asked here. If somebody has worshipped devatas so far, how will he worship Supreme Lord Krishna now? So Shukdev Goswami says, what is the problem? Who would not get attracted to Krishna? Even those who are liberated, they also get attracted to Krishna. What's the problem in getting attracted to Krishna if you are worshipping a devata? Jnanam yada prativnivritta gunormi chakram Atma prasad utayatra guneshva sangaha kaivalya sammat pathas tvatha bhakti yoga ko nirvrito harikatha suratim na kurayat. So very beautiful verse Shukdev Goswami is saying. When jnana, when the process of acquiring knowledge, what happens when one starts acquiring knowledge? He develops indifference to all the material world. Apratinivrita, nivritta, he becomes liberated, he becomes detached from the gunormi chakram. He becomes free from the modes of material nature. And what happens then? Atma prasada utayatra. And then he becomes satisfied within himself. Such type of people who are liberated, self-satisfied, they also take to the shelter of bhakti yoga, kaivalya sammat patha, twatha bhakti yoga. So this path of bhakti, which is sanctioned by great people, all these jnanis, they also get attracted to this bhakti yoga. Who will not get attracted? Ko nirvrito. Who is that liberated soul who will not develop rati? Who will not develop rati for the Supreme Lord's pastimes? So Srila Prabhupada, he writes that, actually transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Lord, it is so very attractive. What is the result of this knowledge? Bhakti pareshanu bhavo virakti. One completely becomes detached from the material world. So it is natural that when one develops the knowledge of devotional service, one naturally becomes detached from the material world. So if the jnanis, they also get attracted to Krishna, then what to speak of the demigod worshippers? And we know the story of Shukdev Goswami. He was a liberated soul. We just discussed in the first canto that he was completely liberated soul. He also got attracted when he heard Bhagavatam. The four Kumaras got attracted when they smelled the aroma of Tulasi, which was offered on the lotus feet of the Lord. Tasyaravinda nayanasya padaravinda kanjal kamishra tulasi makaranda vayu antargatasva vivarena chakaratesham sanshobham aksharajusham. They got agitated with the feelings of devotion. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami is saying, who will not get attracted? What to speak of Devata worshippers? Even Jnanis, the liberated souls, get attracted. So what's the problem in Devata worshippers to change their faith from Devata worship to Krishna worship? And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he focuses on the activities of a devotee. A devotee is always engaged in hearing and discussing the pastimes of the Lord. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantaschamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So this verse says, ko nirvritasu harikathasu. Ko nirvrito harikatha surati. Who will not be satisfied and attracted to hear harikatha? So the devotees, they are attracted to hear harikatha always. And this experience of attraction towards Krishna can happen even at the stage of sadhana bhakti. All of us, we can, tell for sure that we are getting attracted a little bit, if not more. That's why we are taking out time to hear Bhagavatam, doing so many activities, doing chanting, hearing, going to holy places. Why? Because we have developed a attraction for Krishna. So that is what Shukdev Goswami is saying. That devotees, they are not attracted to the mundane things of the world. Pratinivritta gunormi, because pratinivritta, they have become detached from the modes of material nature. How they have become detached? They have become attached to Krishna. Yatuttama shloka gunanuvada prastuyate gramya katha vighatah Nishevyamano anudinam moksho matim satim yachati vasudeve. So Bhagavatam says, Yad uttama shloka gunanuvada prastuyate. Anybody who gets attracted to uttama shlokas pastimes, he will be completely disinterested in Gramya Katha. Gramya Katha means all the talks which are happening in the household activities, topics of the sociology, politics, Bollywood, cricket, and all the other topics. Devotee is not interested. Prabhupada writes in that purport. So therefore, devotee is only interested in hearing Harikatha. So after this, Shukdev Goswami, he becomes silent. He stops speaking. So all the sages, they became a little anxious. They were not thinking, chalo bhai, class khatam ho gaya, thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That's what happens many times. We're waiting for the class to end. So the sages of Naimisharanya, they are so eager. They are thinking, arey, it seems that Shukdev Goswami has condensed entire Bhagavatam and he has stopped speaking. No, we'll have to encourage him, we'll have to request him. So the sages now, headed by Shaunak Rishi, they start inspiring Shukdev Goswami to Suta Goswami to speak more. So Shukdev Goswami became silent, and Suta Goswami also said, now this is what Shukdev Goswami said. He also fell silent. So Shaunakadi rishis, they tell Suta Goswami that, oh Suta Goswami, Shukdev Goswami was a very learned sage. He was such a poetic personality, very learned. And Parikshit Maharaj, he was such a great devotee. He must have inquired something from Shukdev Goswami after this. Because they were thinking that how can Krishna Katha end? When a great devotee like Parikshit is there and a great speaker like Shukdev Goswami is there, naturally Krishna Katha has to continue. So therefore, etashushrushatam vidvan sutanor bhashitum katha hari kathodarka satam siu sadasi dhruvam. Therefore, O Suta Goswami, etat shushrushatam, we want to hear, we are eager. Shushrushatam, we are eager to hear what? Katha hari kathodaraka. We want to hear the katha of Supreme Lord. Because the devotees, for them, these topics, they are ever fresh. And in the assembly of devotee, naturally Krishna Katha has to happen. Just like when two businessmen meet, they will not discuss Bhagavatam mein kya hua tha aaj. They will discuss about their business. Prabhupada writes, when two stock market agents, they meet, they will discuss about stock market. Similarly, when the devotees, they meet, they discuss about Hari Katha. Krishna Leela Amritasar Tar Shata Shatadhar Dashadike Bahaya Hoite Sai Chaitanya Leela Hoye Sarovar Akshay Manohamsa Charaha Tahate. So therefore, We have to, you know, uh, put our mind in these pastimes of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are like nectar. So therefore, all the sages, they are requesting, please speak more. We are eager. In the first canto also, the sages, they requested, Tanno bhavan vai bhagavat pradhano mahattamaikanta parayanasya harerudaram charitam vishuddham shushrushatam no vitanotu vidwan. Oh, you are such great a devotee and we are eager. And the subject matter is about Krishna, the best combination possible. So why are you stopping? Please continue. You know, Shunite पाए सुखे अपूर्वामृत नदी बहे तुम्हार मुखे. आगे कहो, Mahaprabhu is telling Ramanand Rai, please keep on speaking. Nectar is flowing from your mouth. You know. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that any katha which leads to Krishna katha is good. So therefore, if you see Mahabharata, Mahabharata is full of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But in this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, Vyasdev has put Bhagavad Gita also. So therefore, it is worth hearing. Although many, topics of artha and kam and sense gratification are described, but ultimately Bhagavad Gita is given. So therefore, everything should be used in service of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada says. So all the sages, they are telling, oh, please speak, because we know who is Parikshit. He was such a person. Even as a child, he was playing with dolls of Krishna. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharatah Balakridanakam Kridam Krishna Kridanayadade. Savai Pandavay Sayo Bhagavato Raja. He was a great devotee. He was Pandavayo Maharata. He was a great fighter and a great devotee also. You know what? We know that this Parikshit, even as a child, Balakridana Kai Kridan, when he would play with dolls, he would play with dolls of Krishna. Krishna Kridam Yadade. He would imitate worship of Krishna as a small child. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashto Vichayate. That a person who cannot complete his process, he takes birth in the family of rich people and a devoted family, so that he has conducive environment to practice Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada writes about himself. He says, our father also encouraged us to observe all the functions, Ratha Yatra, Dola Yatra, Jhulan, and all the other ceremonies. And Prabhupada writes that he would spend money liberally for distributing prasad. Actually, Prabhupada tells once that, whatever I have learned in Krishna consciousness, everything I have learned from my father. One thing I have learned from my spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. What is that? I have learned book distribution. Apart from that, everything I have learned from my father. So Prabhupada tells. And then he tells about his spiritual master. He says, spiritual master, our spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also was born in a pious, devoted family, Vaishnava family. His father, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And he engaged all his sons in devotional service. Prabhupada writes, that is the way of all lucky Vaishnava families. Those who are lucky Vaishnava families, they get a chance to take birth. Either, they make their life successful, or in their family, a person takes birth who is already a devotee from the last birth. So then Prabhupada writes that actually Parikshit Maharaj, by this we can see he was a Nitya Siddha. He was a liberated soul. And Prabhupada writes that there is another type of devotee who is called as Sadhana Siddha. He may not be pure now, but because he is very eager and sincere to the process of Krishna consciousness, in due course of time he will become pure. And then they tell, and we know about this Shukdev Goswami also. Vaiyasakishcha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayana Urugaya Gunodara Satam Syuhi Samagame. And this Vyasaki, who is Vyasaki? The son of Vyasdev, that is Shukdev Goswami. And this Vyasaki, Shukdev Goswami was also a great person. He was Vasudeva Parayana, he was a great devotee of Vasudev. So, when a audience, the hearer, Parikshit Maharaj is a great devotee, and the speaker, Shukdev Goswami, is a great devotee, then for sure, what will happen between two devotees? Urugaya Gunodara Satam Syuhi Samagame. When two devotees, they come together, they don't discuss about cricket, politics, they discuss about Krishna Katha, you know. Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Katha Tadjoshanaadashu Apavargavartmani Shraddharati Bhaktiranu. So devotees of the Lord, Satam Prasangam, they are only interested in Mama Virya Samvido, my pastimes. And by that they are nourished. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, actually superficially, if you see, Parikshit Maharaj is a great king, Shukdev Goswami is a renunciant, it seems to be opposite. But actually they both are unalloyed, pure devotees of the Lord. So there is no difference. Prabhu kahe aage kah shunite paye sukhe. Mahaprabhu, that's what he says. He says, Ami ek batul, tumi dutiya batul, atev amay tumay hoye samatul. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Ramananda Rai, Are, I am a madman and you are another madman. That's why our frequency is matching. Atev amay tumay hoye samatul. Two mad people can stay together. If one is sane, other is mad, they cannot stay. So, for outsiders, these Hare Krishna devotees pagal hain log. They think that these Hare Krishna devotees are mad, and the Hare Krishna devotees, they know that they are mad. They are madly running after the illusory energy, the mirage of the material world. So now the sages, the Shaunak Rishi, they start encouraging, telling Hare, please speak more, because the purpose of human form is to hear. We don't want to waste any time. Very, very famous verses are going to come now. Ayur harati vai pumsam udyam astancha yannasau tasyarte yashanau nitau uttama shloka vartaya. So this is third chapter, 17th verse we are discussing. Ayur harati says, with every udyam astam chayannasau, with every rising and setting of the sun, what is happening? The life of a materialist is decreasing. But tasyarte yashanau nitau uttama shloka vartaya, but one who is a devotee of the Lord, his life is not decreasing, he is coming one day close to Krishna. Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport. He says, this verse confirms the importance of human form of life. How eager, how attentive, how serious we should be to hear about Krishna. That is called avyartha kalatvam. Not wasting even a single moment. That is a quality of a devotee. In today's age full of distractions, social media and all the distractions are there. The greatest damage which is done in today's age is the age, is done by the social media, is done by the gadgets. So we have to be really careful. Don't waste time unnecessarily in all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot. Naiva vidvanshiyamanam jalam gadha jalechara yathayuanvaham shayyam naramurha katumbinah. Just like, Bhagavatam gives all the examples from the nature. So in the rainy season, the small ditches, they get filled with water. And because they are connected to a river, the fishes, they come in. And when the rainy season is over, then the water starts decreasing. And naiv avidwan means the foolish fish doesn't realize that water is decreasing. She is happy. Oh, enough water is there. And then due course of time, water decreases so much that the fish dies. Similarly, yathayuvanvaham shayyam nara mudha kutumbina, people who are absorbed in family life, they don't realize how time is passing by. As one devotee was telling in Hindi, that समय हमको चुपचाप बूढ़ा बना देता है. We don't even realize that when we have become old. Oh, just now I was in college. Just now I did my degree. Just now I got married, and just now I had children. Now I am old. It's like somebody was sharing a joke that people now they wear shirts. Apna time aayega. So person he thinks जब हम 20 साल के थे तभी भी लगता था अपना टाइम आएगा. 30 साल के थे तभी भी उम्मीद बरकरार थी. फिर 40 साल के हुए तभी भी लग रहा था टाइम आएगा. 50 साल के हो गए, बच्चे बड़े हो गए, अपना टाइम तो आया नहीं. फिर 60 साल के हुए, एक दिन सीने में दर्द हुआ, हॉस्पिटल गए तो डॉक्टर ने सब रिश्तेदारों को बोला, अरे इनके रिश्तेदारों को बुला लो, इनका टाइम आ गया है. So that's what life is. Yathayuvanvaham shayyam nara mudha kutumbinah. We don't even realize when time is passing by, a person becomes old and dies. So we cannot afford to waste time. So distraction makes us unfortunate. We have to be completely focused. So Prabhupada writes, just like a highly potent drug when injected intravenously can have effect immediately. Similarly, if we take association of devotees seriously, it is like a intravenous drug. It can have effect quickly, immediately, And he quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, money, if it is given in charity. So the scriptures say for sure, either in this life or in the next life, the result is guaranteed. If you give charity to a non-Brahmana, you will get the same amount in return. If you give charity to a half Brahmana, you will get double. If you give charity to a person who is learned and fully qualified Brahmana, you will get in hundreds and thousands of times more. And if you give to a person who is Ved Paraga, who is knower of Vedas fully, then the unlimited multiplication will happen. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that if guarantee of charity is there, if you give charity, there is guarantee that you will get money in return. So Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Neha Vikrama Nasho Asti Pratyavayano Vidyate Salpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Even if you do little devotional service, it is permanent bank account. What to speak of if somebody takes association of devotees regularly? If a moment of association is so very wonderful, what will be the result if somebody takes regular association of devotees? That is a wonderful thing. So somebody may say, okay, you are telling such big things, but isn't a man meant to live happily and long life, eat, drink and be merry? So Shaunak Rishis, they tell, what is the use of a long life? Trees also live a long, long life. Tarva kim na jivanti, bhastra kim na swashantyuta, na khadanti na mehanti, kim grame pashavo pare. Trees also live long. They live much longer than humans. They live thousands of years sometimes. So someone may say, but they do not breathe, right? So this Shaunakrisha says, Are bhastra kimna sasvantyuta. If you go to a blacksmith, you'll see he has a bellow. And as you can see in the slide. With this bellow, he blows air into the fire. So it seems that the bellow is also breathing. So he says, oh, bellows also breathe. What is a big thing? But bellows do not eat. The animals are eating and mating, passing, stool and urine and semen. What is the big thing about it? So, human form is not just meant for that, eating, sleeping, and mating and defending. Prabhupada writes in the purport about this importance of human form of life. Human form is meant for tapasya. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhe dyasma brahma saukhyam tvanantam. So Prabhupada writes, what is the use of long life? Shankaracharya lived only for 32 years. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived just for 48 years. And they did revolutions. They created revolutions. Therefore, long life is not required. The purpose of life should be known. That is to take to Krishna consciousness. Or someone may say, but you are telling all this thing, but you see today's age, you see Bollywood stars, all the cricket stars and all the big politicians, they are doing this only, eating, sleeping, having sex life and enjoying, and people are glorifying them. What about them? So Shukdev Goswami says a very strong, Shaunakrishi says a very strong verse. Shwa vidvara hoshtra kharai samstuta purusha pashu nayatra karna pathopeta jatu nama gadagraja. This is like a biggest chastisement to a materialist. He says people who are animalistic, only animalistic people glorify other people who are like Shwa, Vid, Varaha, Ushtra. And people, because they are themselves donkey, hogs, camels and asses, they glorify people who are similar. Shwa, Vid, Varaha, Ushtra, Kharai, Samstuta Purusha Pashu. They praise others who are also like that. Na yatra karna pathopeta, and they never ever listen to the transcendental pastimes of Gadagraja. By hearing the pastimes of Gadagraja, Gadagraja means Krishna. So Gada was one of the cousins of Krishna. So Gada Agraja, the elder brother of Gada, is called Gada Agraja. That is Krishna. So people who are like dogs, camels, hogs and asses, they praise other men who are like that. So Chakravarti Thakur, he gives beautiful commentary, says, people, they are glorified profusely by these animals. These peoples who are like animal, they are glorified by pigs, donkey, camel and asses. What these donkeys, what these animals are telling? So these animals, they tell, look at this person. He is such a great person. He is accepting the quality of all four of us. We are animal, we cannot imitate even one more quality of another animal. Just see this person, char, four animals in one. This is a human being and he has taken all the qualities of all of us, four animals. So he is much better than us. He knows that he will go to hell by taking our qualities. Still he is taking our qualities. Just see such great person he is. And we are so insignificant, we cannot imitate even one of the quality of other animal. So that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. And Prabhupada in the purport, he gives such graphic description of why these four animals are glorified in Bhagavatam. These four animals are glorified many times in Bhagavatam. So dogs, Prabhupada writes, Shwa. Shwa means dog. He says, modern university education, they they help one to take a doggish mentality. What is doggish mentality? People, they get big degrees from the colleges and institutions, and then they go from one door to another, one company to another company, just like a dog. Very strongly Prabhupada is writing. It's like a dog, they are moving from one door to another door to get job. Sometimes they are kicked away, sometimes they are chastised. That is a dog. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jada Vidya Jata Mayar Vaibhava Tomar Bhajane Badha. Jada Vidya, material education, it is obstacle in bhajan. Why? Moha janmiya anitya samsare jiva ke koraye gadha. You develop attachment for anitya samsar, and the person works like a ass, gadha, and donkey. Bhagavatam says another example of a dog. Living entity in this world, he is roaming from one life to another life, one species to another species. Sometimes he gets a good body, sometimes a very abominable body, just like a dog. Street dog, not pet dog. Shut parito yatha dinam sarameyam griham griham charanvindanti yaddinam dandam odanameva. A dog who is troubled by hunger and thirst. Shut parita, hungry dog. He goes from one house to another house. Sometimes he gets something to eat, sometimes he is chastised. Dandam odanam. Sometimes he gets a stick, sometimes he gets a rice. That is a situation of a living entity. And then hogs. Hogs, obviously, people who eat things indiscriminately, they are like hogs, because hogs can eat stool also, and they like stool. Even if you give halwa, the hog will eat stool only. And Prabhupada would give sometimes very graphic examples. He would say, what? All the sense gratification of this world, some people may be enjoying in the posh locality and somebody may be enjoying in slums. After all, it is all stool. The enjoyment of this world is like that stool. Some people, some hogs, he says, some hogs, they like wet stool, it is juicy. Some like dry stool, it is crispy, but it is stool. It's very graphic. And then he says about camel, Ushtra. One particular feature about camel is, camel eats thorns. And when he eats thorns, the thorns prick the mouth and blood comes out. And camel tastes his own blood and he thinks, wow, this thorn is so tasty. People in the world, they are working so very hard, Prabhupada writes, and they are actually enjoying the thorn mixed with their own blood. All the big industrialists, business magnate, Prabhupada writes, actually they work very hard and they earn money in so many different ways. What they are doing, actually they are eating thorns, which is mixed with their own blood. And then he says, actually, the life in the material world, it is maintained by sucking one's own blood, and the pinnacle of this material attraction is sex life. And that is what sex life is, sucking one's own blood. And Swa, Vidvara, Ushtra, and Kharai, and donkey, asses. Prabhupada writes that even among animals, donkey is celebrated as the greatest fool. Because whole day he is working just for few straws of grass, which is available anyways, everywhere. And on top of that, one particular feature of a donkey is when a donkey goes for sex life, He is kicked by the female donkey on the face. But still donkey shamelessly goes to that female donkey to enjoy. In the pursuit of enjoyment in this world, although they are kicked again and again by material nature, but still the desire to enjoy doesn't go. You know. So Prabhupada writes, people who are like such hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, they glorify others who are the same. So the leaders of this type of civilization, they are bigger dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. So that's what Prabhupada writes. And that's what this verse says. Because they are not understanding the value of life. They are wasting their life for such foolish things. Netra karna pathopeto jatu nama gadagraja. Now, after criticizing the whole person, Shaunak Rishi, he starts criticizing every part of the body of this person. Vilebatoru kramavikramanye na shrinvati karnapute narasya jihva satidar durikeva suta nachopagayatyurugaya gatha. Limb by limb description of such animalistic person is given now. He says such people, because they do not hear about Uttama Shloka, na Shrunvati Karnaputena Rasya. Their ear holes, they are like the holes where snakes live. People, they have hundreds and thousands of topics to talk about and hear about. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Ninam Santi Sahasrasa Apashyatam Atm Tattvam Griheshu Grihmedinam. They don't realize that death is coming. People, they are so attached to talking. Oh, you know what happened? You don't know? I'll tell you. And then the topic will start. Their holes are like the holes where snakes live. Because they don't hear about Krishna. Krishnera madhuravani amritera tarangini tara karna nahi shravane kanakadi chidrasam jani yase shravana tara janma huila akarane. Kaviraj Goswami is very strongly chastising such people. Krishnera madhuravani amritera tarangini. The beautiful pastimes of Krishna, they are like nectar. Tara pravesha nahi shravane. If you don't allow this nectarine vibration to enter your ears, your ears are what? They are like the broken conch shell. It won't blow also. It is useless. Kanakadi chidrasam jani hase shravan. Why did you take birth? Your life is useless. So that is a hole of ear hole. If you don't hear, then your ear hole is like the hole where snakes live. And jihvasati dardurikeva suta nachopagayatyurugaya gatha. And if you don't speak about Krishna, your tongue is like the tongue of a frog. When the frog starts croaking, just invites a snake. Oh, come here and eat me. That is how with our speech, we are reducing our life. We are coming close to death. We are inviting the death to come. If you are not speaking about Krishna, people say, I don't know how to speak. Whatever you know, you speak. Tathapi kirtayamyanga yatha mati yatha shrutam kirtir harer swam satkartum giram anya bhidha satim. Maitreya Muni is telling to Vidura that although I am not such a qualified person, still I will speak as per my knowledge goes and as per my realization. Because if I don't speak, my tongue will become a prostitute. Jihva asati. Asati means a chaste wife. Asati means a prostitute. Because prostitute does not go to one man, no husband. So our tongue should be married to speaking about Krishna. If it is not so, it is like a prostitute. And the end result will be destroyed. Only an animal will not hear about Krishna. आश्चर्यमेतद्धि मनुष्यलोके सुधां परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायण गोचराणि त्यक्त्वान्यवाचा कुहका पठन्ति. So very astonishing. आश्चर्य है. What is the आश्चर्य? Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. Are you are giving up nectar and you are drinking poison? Namani narayana gocharani. The glories and the pastimes and the names of Lord, they are like nectar, and you are giving up that and you are drinking poison. Kuhaka pathanti. Kuhaka means the topics of this world. And then he says, if you are not bowing down in front of the Lord, you are just carrying a huge weight on your head. If you are not using your hands to serve Krishna, your hands, they are like the hands of a dead man, full of bangles. Bharam param patta kirita justam apyuttamangam nanamen mukunda. Shavau karau no kurute saparayam hare lasat kanchana kankanova. It is like a huge weight you are carrying. If you have hundreds of designations, you are Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, you are having a good knowledge, wealth, powerful, aristocratic, wealthy, strong, beautiful, but you are not bowing down in front of Krishna. You are proud. You know what will happen? It is like a drowning man. If he has a huge weight on his head, the person will drown faster. So if you are not bowing down in front of Krishna, you will very quickly drown in this ocean of material existence. Again, you will have to take birth. So person who is foolish, puffed up because of his Janma, Ishwarya, Vayo, Rupa, Vidya, Janma, Karma, Vayo, Rupa, Vidya, Aishwarya, Dhanadibhi. All these things make one proud. And this will make a person drown more quickly. And then Prabhupada writes, even a common man, even if he has no time, he will find some time to go to temple and sweep the temple, do some menial services in the temple. However big you may be. Just see Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Prabhupada gives the example of Pratap Rudra. He was sweeping. And that's what attracted the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Prabhupada says, even though a rich man's wife who has glittering bangles made up of gold, she must engage herself in rendering service to the Lord. So hands which are not used in service of the Lord, they are like the hands of a dead man. And then, what about the eyes? Barahaite ye nayane naranam lingani vishno nadidrikshavo ye padao nirnam tao drumajanma bhajao kshetrani nanu brajate haroryo. If you are not looking at the beautiful form of the Lord, your eyes are like the eyes which are on the peacock feather. And if your legs are not going to the holy places, your legs are like the tree trunks. And then again he says, if you are not putting the dust of the feet of the devotees, then you are like a dead body. Jivan shavo bhagavatangri renu na jatu martyo abhilabhet yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastulasya Shwashanshoyas Tunaveda Gandha. If you are not decorating your head with the dust of the feet of devotees, you are like a dead man. If you are not smelling the fragrance of tulasi which is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, you are like a dead body. And then Prabhupada in the purport glorifies association of devotees, how it is so very important. Rahu ganay tat tapasanayati na chejya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasa na jalagni surya vinapan mahatpad rajobhisekam. Rahugana, he was instructed by Jad Bharat. He says, O Rahugana, you will not attain perfection by doing tapasya, by doing charity, by doing cultivating knowledge, unless you put the dust of the devotees on your head. And then he says, if while chanting the names of the Lord, your heart is not melting, that means your heart is steel framed. तदश्मसारं हृदयं बतेदं यद्गृह्यमाणैर्हरिनामधेयः न विक्रियेतात यदा विकारो नेत्रे जलं गात्र रुहेषु हर्षः. Ashmasara, your heart is steel framed if by chanting the names of the Lord it is not melting. If tears are not coming out of your eyes, that means your heart is steel framed. And that is the case with every one of us. Why this happens? Because we are committing offenses. Krishna nama kore aparadhira vichar, Krishna bolile aparadhira na hoye vikar. If you are making offenses, you will not develop the feelings of ecstasy. Otherwise, even one name of the Lord can destroy all sins. Ek Krishna naam kare sarva papa nash, premero karana bhakti kore na prakash. And the love of God will arise in the heart. But because we are making offenses, therefore these ecstatic symptoms are not coming. So after hearing all this, they say, therefore please speak Hari Katha, otherwise our life is waste. Please speak the discussion which happened between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. So that is the end of this chapter. Thank you very much. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please speak.
People who have demigod worship, who do demigod worship, does destiny play any part in their life? Or everything is sanctioned, whatever they wish, the demigods they sanction?
See, destiny is there in everyone's life. Destiny. What is destiny? Destiny is whatever we have done in the past. We are supposed to get the reactions of that, either good reaction or bad reaction. That is destiny. So we are making our own destiny. As it is said, we are dressed for and we are dressed by our desires. Whatever we desired in the past life, now we have a body according to that. And whatever we are desiring now, we will get a body in the next life. So according to our karma, we get a body, we get a reaction. That is destiny. And if somebody worships devatas, they are creating more reactions, either good reaction or a bad reaction. Because by worshipping devatas, what people want? They want good health, long life, they want punya, go to heavenly planets. What is this? Creating more karma. So therefore, either you worship devata or anything, any devata, you are creating karma. You will come back again. Only devotional service can destroy all the karmic seeds. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam kramenaiva praliyata Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. That's what Nectar of Devotion describes. Only by rendering devotional service, all the karmic seeds are destroyed which are manifesting, not manifested, which are in the seed form, everything is destroyed. So worshipping devatas is another form of pious activity, right? So you will get the reaction according to that. Okay.
Prabhuji, one more thing I wanted to ask, that people like Gyanis and Yogis, and you said that they ultimately they also do bhakti and they attain liberation, like but does this happen in one lifetime or it takes many lifetimes?
So I didn't say they do bhakti. Ultimately, they can come to bhakti if they render devotional, if they get association of devotees. They can render active devotional service to please the Lord only if they come in touch with devotees. But even to get the results of karma or jnana or yoga, they have to add little amount of devotion. It is like a indispensable element in any type of spiritual practice. Either a person is karmi, he is worshipping devatas, but he has to worship with faith, right? With devotion. That devotion is given by Krishna. यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्ता श्रद्धया अर्चितुम इच्छति तस्य तस्याचलाम श्रद्धाम तामेव विदधाम्यहम. And along with Shraddha, they have to worship Krishna also. Just like at the end of Ganpati Aarti, what is sung? This Hare Krishna mantra is sung.
Yes.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So what is this? That is devotional service. And before that, there is one verse which is sung. Anyone knows? Anyone here knows the one verse which is sung at the end of the Aarti?
Kayena vacha manasa indriya.
Yes. So what is that? This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. Kayena vacha manasa indriyerva buddhyatmana va nusitasvava karoti yadi yada sakalam parasmai Narayanatyeti samarpayet. What is that? This is devotional service. So this is how the scriptures, they trick everyone come close to Krishna. Somehow or other भगवान को अर्पण कर रहे हैं. कायेन वाचा मनसा इंद्रिया. It's like pure devotion. Your body, mind, words, senses, everything should be offered to Krishna. Your buddhi also. Buddhyatmanava nusita swabhava. Your swabhava also. Whatever you do with your mind, body, words, senses, karoti yad yad sakalam, everything should be offered to Narayanatyeti samarpayet. So any process you take, it will require a practice of bhakti also. In Ashtanga Yoga, what yogi meditates on? He meditates on the Lord who is there in the heart. But in due course of all these things, if they get association of devotees, then they will come close to Krishna. Then they will start practicing bhakti. Otherwise, they will not practice bhakti. They will get the results of their path. Karmis, they will go to heaven. Jnanis and yogis, they will go to Brahman. But bhakti will get only if association of devotee comes in picture. Okay?
But Prabhuji, but there are many people like whom we preach, but they don't take to bhakti. They are not. They prefer their karma kand only. When we preach like that, you should do this. This God, this Krishna is supreme. They don't seem to be interested. They are more interested in karma kand only because like they want the results of this material world only.
So what the question?
That only I wanted to say that there are some people like this. Even if they come in contact with devotees, still they don't change.
Okay, it will not happen that if somebody comes in touch with devotees immediately, aaj aaya aur kal shuddha bhakta, all they will not start practicing because it requires sukriti. So unless sukriti is there, they will not take to bhakti. So what we have to do, we have to generate their sukriti. They may not take to bhakti now, but we have to generate their sukriti. by giving prasad, if they appreciate even the taste of prasad, they may not appreciate, oh, ye prasad hai. You know, sometimes people say, Are Hare Krishna mein acha khana milta hai. What is that? That is generating sukriti. Hare Krishna के लोग अच्छे रहते हैं. सुकृति, glorifying devotee. हरे कृष्णा में ना भगवान को अच्छे से सजाते हैं. सुकृति, मंदिर साफ रहता है. You know, सुकृति. You know, so in due course of time they will come and start practicing. You know, they may not be devotees now. They may be attracted to sense gratificatory desires, karma kand, but if they appreciate the limbs of devotional service even unconsciously, in due course of time they'll think, अच्छे लोग हैं नहीं, maybe we can try this. So that's what will happen. They may not take now, but it will happen some days or some years or maybe next lifetime. Who knows? God knows. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very well. Any other questions anybody has? Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.